just give us a brief introduction of your character, Anakin Skywalker?
Sure. So Anakin Skywalker is a very complex character. He's, you know, not so dissimilar from you or I. At the beginning, he really has sort of a similar ideal set and a set of morals that, for all intents and purposes, he's a good guy. But he has this lust for power, and he, you know, he really wants great things, but they become something bigger than what he originally expected, and he has these sort of delusions of grandeur that he doesn't know what to do with, and his fall to the dark side, I think, is sort of understandable. You know, he wants to protect the people that he loves, and I don't fault him for that. It's just the way he goes about it. But he, you know, he's someone that I can identify with as a character that is interesting in how he sort of becomes Darth Vader. You know, he fall to the dark side is a complex and very compelling one. The casting process was a process. It went on for several months. I remember the entire time feeling like it was too far-fetched that I'd ever get cast in this role.
How many callbacks?
There was probably 4 or 5 callbacks. I remember the first time I just met with the casting director, Robin Gerland, and just chatted with her about acting and random stuff. And then I went and met with George Lucas over the Skywalker Ranch, and that was a very surreal experience going there for the first time. And then got to audition with Natalie Portman, and that was sort of like the last phase of the auditioning process. And read through a few scenes with her, and then I went back home. I was living in Vancouver at the time, and I remember maybe a few days later I got a phone call from my agent saying that I got the part, and it was one of the happiest phone calls I've ever gotten, and one of the happiest days, memories. And, you know, I was my roommate at the time. Was a DJ, and he had the Star Wars LP on record, and he put it on, and I remember we were blaring it as loud as we could and having a fake lightsaber fight.
I personally hate auditions. You know, it's a nerve-wracking experience. So, do you remember any nerve-wracking moments?
Oh, absolutely. I was terrified. I was so nervous. I had butterflies in my stomach, and I remember meeting Natalie for the first time. I was a little overwhelmed. I remember in one of the auditions, in one of the takes that we were doing, I was very nervous, and I lost my voice. I got like a frog in my throat or something. I couldn't talk. And
I read somewhere that you threw up on the way to the range.
I wasn't going to talk about that, but if you want to bring it up, yeah, I was very nervous. You know, it was a big deal for me.
That's great, and finally you won the part.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the whole process made it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
It was an extraordinary scene. Extraordinary scene. I mean, the emotions palpable.
Yeah, no, that's one of my favorite scenes.
I was gonna think, it was just, you know, as an actor, was this the most rewarding moment throughout your shooting?
One of, yeah. I mean, you know, it's sort of the final culmination of everything we've been working on, coming to a head in that scene there. And I remember when we were filming that particular part of the scene that day, Robert De Niro showed up to set to watch, and I was off in the corner. I was doing a bunch of push-ups, trying to get myself worked up. And he walked over and he said, "Yeah, I do the same thing." And it was you know, there was lots of really neat people that would show up to the Star Wars set just because it was Star Wars and they wanted to come and see it in the flesh. But yeah, no, that was a special scene for me. Yeah.
So after during the 2 films, what did you learn the most as an actor? What did you learn?
I mean, it was really the most incredible learning experience I could have asked for. You know, I got to watch George Lucas, amazing visionary storyteller, work, and I got to work with him, and and seeing his process and how he goes about making his decisions, and that was what was most interesting, was watching him craft his stories and make them into these amazing movies was the greatest learning.